and welcome to the Tiny Human Knits podcast, my podcast about knitting, sewing, crochet, cross-stitch, and all manner of crafty goodness. My name is Laura, and I'm coming to you from High Level, Alberta, Canada, where I live with my husband, our cat, Shrimply Pibbles, and our bunny named Oscar. And you can find me online as Tiny Human Knits pretty much everywhere. I have an Etsy shop, a Ravelry page, a Ravelry group, which is Tiny Human Knits Podcast, and also on Instagram. And on the Ravelry group, at the moment, I am hosting the make-along, or the Make from Stash Along. I have been giving two different hashtags to use for that because I kept forgetting which one I had picked. So you can either use on Instagram the hashtag THK Make from Stash Along 2018, I think, or just Make from Stash Along. I'll put both of them up just so you can like pick and choose. You can do both as well. I follow both of the hashtags so I can see all your guys' stuff on Instagram. And also, people have been, every time I check my Ravelry threads, there is more in the finished objects. So you guys are just making, which is making me very happy. It's also, there's a couple projects that have been uploaded on there that I have definitely added to my gonna make that list, which is a million miles long, so some of them I might never get to, but you know, that's neither here nor there. And I'm also going to be drawing some prizes from, I think I'll do the finished objects thread. There's a lot, or maybe one from each. I'll do one from each. I think I'm going to start with patterns. So I think what I'm going to do is just draw names, one out of each of the threads, and then the winner can let me know what pattern they would like me to purchase for them on Ravelry. That way I don't have to, you know, nobody wants a pattern that they don't actually want or won't make. So I think I'll just do that, and I will do that in my next podcast. And I don't have other administrative stuff besides that. It's been a very slow, activity-wise, week or two. Nothing's been going on particularly. So I will jump right in and talk about what I'm wearing, and I'm wearing my Tenya. I think it's called Tenya. I was calling it Tegna, but then I watched the Fruity Knitting podcast, and Andrea is also making a Tenya, and apparently that's how you're supposed to say it, so. But this is just something I finished last year, I think I finished it? Yeah. And I knitted out of my own hand-dyed yarn. This is the Victoria colorway, and this was on my glitter base. I'll stand up for you. It's got the beautiful lace on it. And it fits me perfectly. It used just 150 grams of yarn, so I actually have more, I ordered some Knit Pick Stroll in a mint colorway, 3 skeins of it, and I've got it set aside for another one of these because it's a really nice top. I like wearing knitted garments in the spring and summer as well, so this is nice to have, you know, for maybe slightly warmer season, because I do live somewhere that has 7 months of winter, so it's nice to have something that works for both summer and winter at the same time, but whatever. But yeah, I can start with, I've got one finished object this week, and I hadn't even thought about casting it on last podcast, and I was inspired, but first I'll grab the yarn for it. So my last shop update, I had one skein of a new colorway that I was calling Bullfinch, and I got to wind it up with my new Stanwood ball winder, so that's why it's so beautiful. This is how it looks in the cake. This is my Bullfinch. And I only had one, so I didn't want to put just one in the shop. So, and I really wanted to keep it. But I didn't know what to make because I didn't want to make it into a pair of socks. Because I have so much sock yarn besides this that I can use for socks, and I kind of want to use that first, the commercial stuff that I have. So I decided to cast on a Pint Size So Faded by Andrea Mowry, and I did the 12-month size, but I also went down a needle size because I wanted it to be a little bit denser, so it's more of a 6-month to 12-month size, depending on the size of your baby, because some people have babies that come out that don't fit into those sizes. They're huge. So I have half a skein left, which I'm going to use for a lot of things. I want to make Bird of Happiness and start both a Cozy Memories blanket and a Grinding Stripe blanket, which is so funny because I remember about a year ago, when a lot of people were making them. People have continued to make granny stripe blankets all the time, and I would look at them and think like, I don't know if that's ever something I'm gonna make. I don't really like the look of it. But something about this past Christmas season, when I saw Katie of Inside Number 23 start hers with her Advent minis, I don't know what changed in my brain, but all of a sudden I thought they were all gorgeous and I needed one. So some of that will be going from this as well. It might actually be my cast on edge. I'm not entirely sure yet. So that's the leftover, but this is the finished object. And it is so cute. So I did the normal size. I didn't do any fading, so I just did the one, but I did do the garter bumps on the shoulders. I did a short sleeve. Here's up close. And I tried doing the neckband in the ribbing, and I just didn't like how it looked. And it was hard to get a loose enough bind off without it looking sloppy, because for a small baby, you want it to be like pretty flexible. So I just used an I-cord edge. And I'm not actually sure if it would fit over a baby's head, to be perfectly honest. It might be a showpiece if I ever do shows. So an example of what you can knit out of the color. But I love how the color shows up. It's so pretty. This is definitely going to be a regular in my shop at one point. And I love it. I really love it. But yeah, I finished this really quickly. I was having a bit of a cable, not anxiety, but like, I was buried under cables upon cables upon cables. So I needed something just pretty basic with a really quick turnaround to help ease the stress of so many cables. So that is my only finished object for this week. But I will put that away somewhere, or maybe just hang it on my wall on a little hanger or something just so I can see it. But I can put those aside now. Baby knits are so much fun. I used to knit a lot of baby garments, which, by the way, I've had a couple people ask me, is why I'm called Tiny Human Knits, is because the amount of baby garments I used to make, and also because I'm not a particularly large person. Okay, so moving on into works in progress. I've got a couple, actually. And I'm surprised I don't have more. I have been a little bit castanitis-y, mostly because, again, the aforementioned cables have been really weighing me down. But that's okay. First off is the pair of socks that I had on the needles last podcast. And these are in Cauldron of Colors in their BFL base. It's called Blue Angel Base 4-ply, 75% BFL, 25% nylon. And this is the color Prospero, and I still love it. And it's got my hair on it, like usual. But I'm still really loving it. And this is Sarah's card, by the way. And she sent this to me as a gift. We did an exchange. And I'm holding that in a bag I made out of fabric I got for my birthday that also has my hair on it. And I could have been done this one sock. I'm still on the first sock. These I'm making for my husband. It is his birthday next month, and he's getting quite a few things for his birthday, apparently. But I could have had this done. I'm on the ribbing right now. I could have finished it, but I cast on something else instead. So I just did what I've newly learned. I've been knitting socks for about a year and a half now, and I've been using the same heel for a long time, and I just recently learned what it was called. So it's a Flegel heel, apparently. It's it's when you do your toe up, gusset increases, and then do a turn. Apparently that's a Flegel heel. I didn't know that. It's my favorite heel for both myself and my husband's feet. We have pretty flexible feet. Like I can use this any heel on either of our socks, but I do enjoy this heel the best, knitting wise, and just how it fits. I have done for both of us a pair that has the German short heel in it, and it seems to fit him a little bit better than it fits me. But also I think the problem with that though is that I knit the pair for myself was the longer pair of socks that I finished last time, I think, the mint chip Felici socks. And I've come to the realization that long socks are just not for me because I have rather narrow ankles, or like normal size ankles, but I have really thick calves. I used to run and go for really, really long walks, like ridiculously long walks. When I was a younger person, that was apparently what I did with my spare time. I remember one weekend when I was living in Calgary, I had like a week off, and within 3 days, I think I remember it was about 108 miles that I walked. Because apparently I didn't have a life at that point. Don't really have much of one now, but that's neither here nor there. So I've built up my calves a lot throughout the years, so they're quite big. So having the longer sock is just uncomfortable for me. So if I do longer socks again, I think I'm going to have to remember to do some increases after the heel turn, because they just don't fit nicely. So either I'll stick with the slightly short socks. They're not like shorties, but they're definitely shorter. But yeah, just stick with those, because even before I've learned how to make my own socks, I would always buy shorter sport socks. So that's kind of what I'm used to wearing as well. But anyway, so I could have had this done, but again, I cast on something else, and I was busy with cables, and just... Ugh. But these are nice, because we do drive to the next town over quite a lot, so it's nice to have something that I can work on when we're driving and visiting with family, so... But yeah, I don't think I have anything more to say about that. I'm hoping to have these done by next podcast, because my husband's birthday is on the 5th of March, and I want to have everything for him done. So, but it's moving along pretty well. If I actually sit down and do it, I should have it done pretty quickly. And that is one. I am covered in hair. I shed like a beast. I've got very thick hair. And a lot of it. I need a haircut though. The last time I got my haircut was October of 2016. So it's due for a trim. A little bit. It's getting really thick. My second work in progress is my Radmere cardigan, and this is the one. And I am knitting this both for Katie of Inside Number 23's Wong Along, because it's a pattern by Michelle Wong, and also Amy of Stranded Dye Works is having her what's the word? The like cheaper yarn knit along? Commercial yarn. Haha, there we go. And I'm knitting this out of Knit Pick Swish worsted, which I bought specifically for this pattern. My husband is really picky when it comes to what patterns he wants me to make him, and apparently it's either all stockinette or all cables. So his next one, we already have his yarn picked out for his next sweater. He bought the yarn himself, so of course I'll make him something. That one's going to be stockinette. So, okay. I am finished all of the pieces. All of them. I finished them. I finished the last sleeve yesterday, and I'm so glad I don't have any more cables to do. I am so, so, so glad. Yeah. But I'm knitting it out of, as I said, Knit Pick Swish worsted. Please ignore the state of this ball of yarn. This one was commandeered by my lovely cat, and she likes to play with yarn, which is why she's not allowed in this room. But it's this beautiful gray, and these are all of the ball bands from the ones I've already used. 15. And I'll say now, I finished all of the pieces. I ran out of yarn. That leftover ball was all I had left, and luckily though, I knew I was going to run out when I was on the front panels, and I went into the Ravelry D stash and found someone who was getting rid of some in the colorway. So she's already sent them to me, so I should get them either by tomorrow or next week. But here are all of the pieces. So many cables. So I've got the back piece. And this is really where I wish my husband was a shorter man. He isn't. He's annoyingly tall. So this is the back. See all these cables? So beautiful. Actually, okay, I say my husband is annoyingly tall. He's 5'10". I'm 5'2" and a half, close to. I have never been fond of tall men. And I think he's too tall for me. But that's nothing I can do about that. Like, my ideal man would be about 5'5". Would be great. And I've got two front pieces. And there's the armholes for both of those. So two fronts. And then I've got two sleeves. One sleeve and two sleeve. And they all have so many ends because Knit Picks comes in 50-gram balls, which is really annoying sometimes, but I'll deal with it. So what I need to do now is sew in all the ends and give them all a good block before I seam them together. I think what I'm going to do though is leave the sleeves till the very end to seam onto the whole garment because I need to do the collar, which is a thick, like a button band with the shawl collar, and I need to do short shaping, and it's going to take a while, so I think just for ease of my wrists, I'll keep the sleeves off until the end because they don't need to be on for you to do the shawl collar. But I'm very happy to be done with the cabling. There's so many cables, but they're all so pretty. Like, the cables in here are so gorgeous. And I really don't mind cables. Not at all. I find them very enjoyable. I don't use a cable needle. I use just a DPN, a 2.25, I think it's a ChowGoo actually, a DPN. And I find it so much easier for myself to move the stitches. And I know some people do the like cabling without a cable needle, and I know how. I have done it before. I was once, I brought a cabled hat pattern to a coffee shop once, a couple years ago, and I completely forgot to bring a cable needle, so I knit the whole thing without a cable needle. It is not faster for me at all. It slows me down, and it makes it more annoying to knit, personally. Just the way that I cable is easier for me to use a needle. So, but yeah, I'm kind of hoping the extra yarn takes a while to get to me because I don't want to work on it anymore, but I also want to get it finished. But it's very squishy. It's very dense. I also went down a needle size. I think it called for a 5mm, but I went down to a 4.5 because I did a gauge swatch in a 5mm, and I got gauge, but I didn't like the fabric. The cables looked really loose and crooked even after I blocked it. So I just went down a size and then went up a pattern size. And because it's the type of pattern where you establish the pattern and then it says to knit until it's so and so long, so it's really easy to do that because then you just have to do maybe a few more rows on the pattern, which I mean made it so that I had more rows to do, but my husband keeps saying like, oh, we'll both get to wear it, and this is true, but I am glad to be done all of that part because it's just going to be 2x2 rib after that, and that's easy. I can watch shows while I do that. So that is my Radmere cardigan, and if anyone's curious, I use Addi interchangeables for everything, absolutely everything. It's the only set of needles I have, and they do the job. And I'm holding all of these in another bag out of the birthday fabric that I got from my mother-in-law. And I purposely made this bag huge. And I think what I'm going to do actually is when I'm done this project and the bag is free, I'm going to use it as my granny granny stripe blanket bag because it's huge, so it should be able to fit in there for quite a while, and I can put a lot of mini skeins in there because I am collecting quite a bit. Also, something I wanted to say, if you're ever doing a pattern like this, or this pattern specifically, there's like 4 different charts. Well, actually no, there's like 8 charts. There's a lot of charts. Anyway, so like say on the back portion, oh, I took out all the charts out here. On the back panel, there's 7, technically you have to do 7 different charts. One of them you do more than once, on either side of the center one, so it's 6. And how I kept track of my rows was I have this piece of masonite paper, or board panel, and I got this at an art supply store for, literally it says $1.80 Canadian, so it's super cheap. And then I have these paper protectors for binders, and I just slid my pattern pieces into there. And I had these, because I used to work at Michael's, so I have everything, and I had these super strong magnets. Like, they are crazy strong. You can buy them at in packs of 6 at Michael's. And I had, for when I was doing the centerpiece, I had a bigger panel because I had a couple different pages. And I just had them laid out, and then I had a piece of paper, just blank printer paper, over the row that I was on. And then every time I needed to move up a row, sorry if this is reflecting, every time I needed to move up a row, I would just move the paper, and then it's such a strong magnet that the pattern would stay still. It's kind of like a make-it-yourself version of the magnetic panels that you can get from knitting stores. But it worked for me because you need more than one piece of paper that you're looking at for pattern. So, if anyone's wondering, it's a lot of, because all of the charts are different row lengths, so to keep track of them is sometimes a little bit annoying, but it's worth it because the pattern's beautiful. Pardon me. It's very bright here today. It's reflecting off everything. So, I have one more work in progress. So, I cast this on last night after I finished the cable panels for my husband's sweater. So, if you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen that I was really looking forward to casting this one on. And this one's for me. And this is the Bistort pullover. Here's an even better picture. And this is a Knit Picks pattern, and when I saw this as a new release on the Knit Picks website, they had the kits available for purchase, and it was so inexpensive because it's just Knit Picks Wool of the Andes Sport. So I ordered the exact colors that came on the sample that they had on the website, which is just white, midnight heather, and thirst heather, and then turmeric. And if I remember, I'll post a picture in color of what the pullover is supposed to look like. But it is a stranded colorwork after miles of stockinette, which is actually really refreshing right now because it's mindless. I don't have to think about it anymore. But yes, it's a stranded colorwork, and it's gonna be interesting because some of the rows have more than 2 colors in it. So, and I have done that before. I made a pair of gloves with fox faces on them that had 3 strands, which that's a small circumference, so you're going around corners with 3 strands. It was a pain in the butt. They turned out so well, but I'm hoping this, because it's a sweater and I'll be able to have all the stitches in the round, it's going to be a bit easier. So I started this last night, and I've just got the bottom cast on, and I'm just into the stockinette now, so it's very, very boring knitting, which again is so refreshing. And I've just got these on my Addies. I got gauge. I did a gauge swatch forever and a day ago. So I'm knitting these on 3.75mm needles, and something I've forgotten to mention before, is that if you have an interchangeable set, like the Addy interchangeables or any interchangeable set really, when you're knitting in the round, I always have my right hand needle, the gauge size needle, so for this one it's a 3.75, and then you can put a smaller size on the left hand side, so the one that's moving the yarn across. I have a 3.5 millimeter here because that's the smallest size that comes in my interchangeable set. And that way the stitches move so much more freely in the round, so you don't have to like struggle to move them over because the needle that they're moving off of is slightly smaller. So I do that anytime I'm knitting in the round, and I can use my interchangeable set. Always, 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 always. It makes life so much easier. Because again, you're not struggling to move the stitches off. So yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to having this as a project for a while. I'm going to have to put it down for a bit and do the blocking and seaming of the Radmere, but besides that, that's all I need to do. So it's really nice. And I'm really looking forward to getting to the color work. And both the Radmere and the Bastort are actually two of my Make 9 projects, so I'm making good time on those. And I don't think the Bastort will take me very long because, I mean, the Radmere only took me 2 weeks of knitting so far. And I also got a couple other things done in between. So I don't think it should take me too long. Especially to get to the color work, and then it's the fun part, right? So those are my works in progress. I was also hoping to cast on the underwing mitts a couple days ago, but then I decided that I should probably finish my Radmere pieces first before I cast on even more things. So I've also got a couple sock projects that I want to make, so I need to start getting on those. But it's been busy around here. But that's all for my works in progress, and now I can move on to acquisitions. I've only got a couple, and yes. So first off, my gorgeous friend Rosie of Pixel Atlantis Yarns and Podcast. I actually ordered this last year, so I can count it towards my stash knit along. She posted her update, and I saw this in her update, which is, it's called Delivering Harry. It's one of her Harry Potter colorways, and it is gorgeous. My nails are sticking to it. It is so soft. And Stellina, and I don't have very many Stellina skeins, so it's really nice to have. So I ordered this from her because I am absolutely 100% happy to support my friend. And I was saying that it was my birthday present to myself. So, because everybody needs at least one skein of birthday yarn. And I got this the day before yesterday, and I opened it, and I actually, before I even got it, I said to my husband, like, how much do you want to bet that Rosie's put another skein in there for me? And when I got it, I was right. She added this one of a kind, which is so pretty. It's a gorgeous green color. And I'm thinking what I might do is I've been wanting to make my nephews. I've got twin nephews. Their names are Arthur and Merlin, which they're so stinking cute. And I haven't made them new sweaters for a while, so I want to make some like lighter weight sweaters for spring and fall. So I have a couple skeins that were sort of leftovers of shop updates and stuff like that. But this one would go really well with a couple of the colors that I have, so I'm gonna have to try that. So these can go into my stash to be like readily made now and count towards my make from stash alone. So I'm counting that. And I also ordered myself a pack of mini skeins from Narwhal Knits. And I love her sticker and her color of her paper and all of it. So here's her little card. And this is the cutest mini skein set. Also, they're so tiny. I love them. And this is her Victorian Christmas. I'm sorry if it's shining off. There you go. It's Victorian Christmas, and all the colors are so cute. So it is 10 mini skein set. So there's 20 yards in each. So it's about 50 grams approximately, so 200 yards total. So I'm thinking I might make something akin to the Pixel Rise socks. Because I only need 50 grams or 200 yards for a pair of socks for myself. And I could put in a contrast, like I could just get a plain gray and do the toes and heels and cuffs in just the one color. So I could have just short little rows of them. Or I might just put them in a blanket. We'll see. I'm not sure yet. But it's super cute. Super, super cute. I opened it up and, like, it's even better than it looked like on her Etsy shop. It's so pretty. And if I do the Pixel Rise, I don't even have to organize them. They're all in the color already. And then she sent me this tiny little sample. She said this one is called Blood Roses. Just super cute. So pretty. So, I have one more acquisition, actually. And it's a pretty big acquisition. It was it was organized fairly quickly. And that is, my husband and I have purchased our first home. Like, actually buying. It's actually kind of a funny story. So apparently, one of my husband's favorite things to do is peruse realtor websites and look at houses, because he loves seeing what the inside of people's houses look like. And because he's a super nerd. So he was looking on a realtor website for the town that we're living close by. We're about 10 miles away. Or 10 kilometers. So it's about 8 miles? Depends which direction you go in. But we're really close by, and he was looking at this realtor website, and he saw a townhouse, so it's a row house, that was for sale. And the price was so inexpensive for housing. And he thought about it for a hot minute and decided that I would never go for it. So he never brought it up. But he kept looking week after week, and it was still there. So finally one day, I think it's Sunday before last, he showed it to me sort of like jokingly. Showed it to me and was like, oh, look at this place. And I looked through the pictures and it's all right. Like, they've done okay with the place. It looks pretty decent, because I've lived in some pretty shady places, so. But it looked pretty good. The kitchen was super outdated, but besides that, it looked all right. And, you know, what do you think? And I have moved for that idiot like 5 times already, so it makes no difference to me. I don't care much. I can make every place I live in look nice, so it's not that I like living out of town a lot, but for, you know, financial reasons, buying a home is often cheaper than renting. And so I told him, like, if you want, just call them up, see if it's still available, go look at it. So he did the next day. He went to go look at it, and then after that, he said he came home, you know, because I was joking that it was probably haunted, which is why it was so cheap. So he went to look, and apparently around here townhouses just are that cheap because they're hard to sell, because most people want their own home, like standalone. And but he went to go look at it, and he really liked it. So I told him, you know, if you want to just go to the bank and see if we can get a mortgage for it, then do that, whatever. I'm not going to start planning things out if I don't have anything solid to, you know, build plans on. So he went to the bank, and he got approved. And then he met with the realtor again, and then he got an inspection, and we have signed the papers for it. So, and now, as long as nothing goes wrong banking-wise, yeah, we bought a house in town, which I'm not gonna lie, I am sort of devastated about. I don't like High Level. It's no secret. I don't think it's a secret. I don't like High Level. I don't like living here, but thanks to you guys and my shop, it's not so bad. I keep myself busy enough to not really notice, but So yeah, we'll be moving. I'll probably have at least one more podcast filmed in this room. And then things might get a little bit delayed just from moving, although, because it is so close and we don't really have to do much redecorating. So it shouldn't take too long to get settled. But yeah, my shop is going to be a little bit slow. I'm not going to be able to do the update that I was hoping to this month. But yeah, it's pretty exciting. It looks nice. I still haven't seen it. I don't know what it looks like. I know what it looks like in pictures, but it's a 3-bedroom townhouse, and all the bedrooms are upstairs. So it's a master bedroom on one end of the house, because it's a narrower house, and there's 2 rooms at the other end. And my husband said that because we have to move into town, both those rooms are mine upstairs, and he'll get the basement, which is fine. I don't like basements. I like bright, airy rooms. So yeah, I get both the spare bedrooms upstairs. And luckily the land is right at the edge of town, so there's no development behind the houses. So it's just tree line, which is really nice because those will be the windows that I will see from those rooms. But yeah. Just checking to see if it's still filming. My phone keeps stopping filming for some reason. So yeah, we will be moving, and we will own the place so we can do whatever we want to it, which is really nice because I've never had that before. But yeah, as far as shop stuff, I will be having a moving sale, and I will be offering 27% off. And the reason for that is that, as far as I can remember, this will be my 27th home that I'll have moved into. I have almost 1 home per year of the amount of time I've been alive. I move a lot. But yeah, so that's what I will be up to for the next month or so. But yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it there. I have got quite a bit of stuff to do today. I wanted to actually start organizing all of my belongings early enough that when we move, it'll be really quick to just pack and unpack. So I've got some house cleaning to do as well, so I'm gonna get to that. So I hope everyone is having a nice stress-free week and enjoying the projects. And I hope everyone had a good Valentine's. Mine was very boring. Nothing happened, so I had my cat. She loves me. It's great. So I will see you all next time with more projects off the needles, hopefully, and I hope you all have a wonderful time. So, bye!